Welcome to Sleepy Science, a quiet place where time slows enough for wonder to be heard. Tonight's journey takes us into one of the most elusive mysteries of all, how the universe itself measures a moment. From the ticking of atoms to the turning of stars, we will drift through the ways time leaves its mark across the cosmos. Before we begin, I would love to know where you are listening from. It is always humbling to imagine these soft stories reaching so many corners of the world, each of us held by the same passing seconds. If you enjoy these explorations, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And to those already here, thank you. You are helping this circle of listeners grow, one moment at a time. I hope this story carries you toward rest, though fair warning, time can be too captivating to sleep through. If you do find yourself awake at the end, at least you will have learned something gentle and beautiful about how the universe keeps its rhythm. So let us begin with a quiet question to carry. What is a moment? And how does the cosmos decide when one ends and another begins? You begin by listening to your own breath. Inhale, exhale. The motion feels simple, yet each cycle carries weight. A single breath is not only air, it is rhythm, change, movement from one state to another. Time reveals itself, first not in numbers or machines, but in this quiet measure of change. The rise and fall of your lungs, the pulse of your own living. Now imagine that the universe breathes too, not with lungs, not with air, but with cycles. It expands, stretches outward like a chest filling with oxygen. It collapses, drawing inward like an exhale. It births stars in flashes of fire, then watches them fade to ash. It spins galaxies into luminous spirals, then lets them scatter across space. Each motion is a breath. Each cycle is a reminder that time is not only something counted, but something lived. Breathe slowly. Inhale the rhythm of the cosmos. Exhale into its stillness. For humans, time is often measured in clocks and calendars, seconds, minutes, years. But these tools are not time itself. They are only symbols, markings of change. The true measure of time is transformation. The child who becomes an elder, the seed that grows into a tree, the star that burns and then collapses into silence. Without change, time would have no meaning. A breath is precious because it moves. The ancients understood this in ways both poetic and practical. They watched the cycles of the sun and moon, measured the shadows of stone pillars, felt the seasons pass across their skin. For them, time was not abstract. It was the warmth of spring, the fading of autumn, the waxing of the moon. It was the harvest, the tide, the beating heart. In every culture, time was first seen, not as numbers, but as breaths, the breath of earth, of sky, of stars. Pause here. Inhale the wisdom of cycles. Exhale the rush of numbers. Science later gave time a sharper edge. Galileo timed swinging pendulums. Newton imagined time as a straight river flowing evenly, the same for all. Einstein bent it, showing that gravity and speed can stretch and compress it. And yet, beneath these descriptions, the essence remains the same. Time is change, measured differently at different scales. To see time is to see the universe breathe. Consider your own body. With each inhale, you draw in air, molecules created in ancient stars. With each exhale, you return them to the atmosphere, joining the endless cycle of exchange. Your heart beats, not endlessly, but rhythmically, a living clock marking your presence in the world. Your cells divide and die. Your hair grows, your bones shift. You are not the same from one breath to the next. Your very body is an unfolding calendar. Breathe gently. Inhale, you're becoming. Exhale, you're passing. Now widen your gaze. Stars to breathe. They flare with fusion, swell into giants, collapse into dwarves. Galaxies rotate, spiral arms stretching like the slow motion of lungs filling with air. Even the universe itself may one day exhale all its expansion, then inhale into collapse, only to begin again. Cosmologists speak of these possibilities not as certainty, but as potential breaths. The universe, inhaling and exhaling across scales of billions of years. At smaller scales, atoms hum with rhythms. Electrons leap, photons are released, vibrations ripple through matter. These tiny cycles, repeated endlessly, create the world, At grander scales, the Earth spins, the moon circles, the planets trace orbits. And above them all, the cosmos expands. Everywhere you look, breath is mirrored. Pause once more. Inhale the atomic hum. Exhale the galactic spin. The beauty of seeing time as breath is that it softens its sharpness. Instead of a ticking clock rushing forward, you feel a pulse, a rhythm that you are part of. Time is not an enemy chasing you, it is a song you join, a wave you ride. In this view, change is not loss, but participation. Each breath you take is the universe breathing through you. Think of the tide, swelling and retreating. Think of day rising, then fading into night. Think of your own life, chapters opening and closing, yet always part of the same book. This is the breath of time and endless motion that never ceases, even when individual lives or stars come and go. Breathe again. Inhale the opening of dawn. Exhale the quiet of dusk. And within this rhythm lies comfort. If time is a breath, then even endings are not final. They are simply part of the inhale-exhale cycle. The breath out makes space for the breath in. The fading of a star gives birth to new elements, seeding galaxies with the stuff of future worlds. The death of one moment feeds the life of another. Nothing is wasted. All is recycled in the cosmic respiration. As you prepare to rest, feel your body's rhythm settle into the rhythm of the universe. Each inhale echoes expansion. Each exhale mirrors release. You are not separate from time. You are its breath, its cycle, its unfolding. You are carried by the same motion that turns galaxies and sparks atoms. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the universe's inhale, exhale into its exhale. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. Time is not only numbers, it is breath, it is rhythm, it is the measure of change, both small and vast. To live is to join the universe in its breathing, to feel yourself as part of its endless rhythm. You rest tonight in the breath of time, knowing that you inhale with stars and exhale with galaxies, part of a rhythm that never ends. You step gently from the breath of time into its earliest human measure. Before gears, before pendulums, before glowing screens, people lifted their eyes to the sky. The sun, steady and brilliant, became their first teacher of rhythm. Its rising and setting told of day and night, Its journey across the sky marked beginnings, middles, and endings. But more than that, it carried shadows, stretching and retreating, whispering the hours in silence. Imagine an ancient person standing in an open field, noticing how their own shadow shifts. At dawn, it stretches long and thin, pointing west as the sun rises. At noon, it shrinks beneath their feet, hiding almost entirely. At dusk, it lengthens again, this time toward the east, following the sun's slow descent. Without any tools, the earth itself gives its rhythm away. The turning of the planet becomes the first clock, and shadows are its hands. Breathe slowly. Inhale the patience of the sun. Exhale the gentle slide of shadow. Soon, people began to shape this observation into practice. A stick in the ground, a stone carefully placed, these became sundials, the earliest instruments of time. They required no winding, no machinery, no sound. They asked only for sunlight and stillness. As the earth turned, the shadow moved, and from its movement, people learned when to gather, when to pray, when to rest. Picture such a sundial in the middle of a village. Children laugh and play nearby. Elders sit and watch. Farmers glance at the shadow before returning to the fields. The sundial is not only an instrument, but a center, a reminder of the sun's steady passage and the earth's slow spin. In its simplicity, it ties life to nature. Pause here. Inhale the quiet of ancient villages. Exhale the calm turning of earth. The beauty of shadows is that they speak without voice. They do not command, they reveal. They stretch when the sun is low, they shrink when it is high. They bend with the seasons, their lengths changing not only with the day, but with the year. In winter, shadows linger long, even at midday. In summer, they grow short and sharp. Without knowing equations, ancient observers could feel the tilt of the earth, the breath of the seasons, simply by watching the play of light and shadow. Sundials were not perfect. Clouds hid the sun. Night erased the shadows. Yet within their imperfection lay harmony. 4 people were invited to live with the rhythms of nature. The day was not chopped into seconds, but unfolded in broad strokes. Morning, noon, afternoon, evening. The sundial reminded them that time was not something to control, but to accompany. Inhale the broad strokes of ancient days. Exhale the release from rushing seconds. Over centuries, sundials grew more intricate. Markings were carved, angles adjusted to match latitudes. Towers held tall, gnomons upright pillars, casting long, readable shadows. In temples and cities, sundials became both scientific and sacred. They aligned human lives with celestial motion, binding earthly routine to cosmic order. To follow the shadow was to follow the sun, to walk in step with the universe itself. Imagine again the slow creep of a shadow across stone. It does not hurry. It does not pause. It slides in silence, marking a rhythm far greater than any one person. In that motion lies comfort. The earth turns, the sun moves across the sky, and time, gentle and vast, carries you with it. Pause once more. Pause once more. Inhale the silence of sliding shadows. Exhale the steadiness they reveal. For you, the sundial becomes more than history. It is metaphor. Your life, too, carries shadows that shift with your own seasons. In youth, time feels long, shadows stretching wide. In moments of love or joy, time shrinks, disappearing beneath your feet. In later years, shadows lengthen again, reminding you of cycles closing and opening. To watch shadows is to accept that time is both fleeting and abundant, both sharp and soft. The sundial also teaches patience. It does not rush to mark each heartbeat. It moves slowly, asking you to slow as well. Perhaps the lesson of shadows is that time is best felt, not in frantic counting, but in quiet observation, in noticing light change, in listening to silence stretch, breathe again. Inhale the patience of shadow. Exhale the calm of waiting as you prepare to rest. Imagine lying in a field, the sun slowly drifting across the sky above. Around you, the shadow of a tree moves inch by inch, so slowly you cannot see it shift except when you close your eyes and open them again. You realize that time does not need to be chased. It will reveal itself on its own, in its own rhythm. All you must do is notice. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the warmth of sunlight. Exhale into the lengthening of shadows. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. Long before machines, people learned to follow the sun, to live by its rhythm, to rest in its patience. Shadows became whispers of time, sundials became companions of the day, and Earth itself became the first clock. You rest tonight in the image of light sliding slowly, shadows stretching and shrinking. The turning of the planet marking the hours without words. You have walked with shadows and sundials, where time was measured in the turning of Earth, the lengthening of shadows, the patience of seasons. Those measures are gentle, tied to nature's rhythms, but they are not perfect. Clouds hide the sun. Seasons shift. A stick in the ground cannot guide a ship across the ocean or synchronize signals that span continents. And so, humanity turned from shadows in fields to the beating hearts of atoms, searching for a measure as steady as the cosmos itself. Atoms, the building blocks of matter, carry within them vibrations, oscillations so regular, so reliable, that they can outpace any pendulum or gear. They are the universe's smallest metronomes, ticking silently in patterns that do not waver. Unlike sundials, which follow the shifting seasons, or pendulums, which tire with friction, atoms beat with extraordinary constancy. Their rhythm comes not from the world around them, but from the very laws of physics. Breathe slowly. Inhale the steadiness of atoms. Exhale the wonder of their rhythm. At the heart of this precision lies the cesium atom, a quiet drummer in the orchestra of time. Cesium's electrons orbit its nucleus in quantized levels, and when they shift between these levels, they release radiation at a frequency that never changes. That frequency, 9,192,631,770 cycles per second, became the definition of the second itself. It is not an approximation. It is exact, as unchanging as the laws that bind the universe. Imagine billions of cesium atoms aligned, each one a tiny drummer tapping out its beat. Their rhythm is not rushed or uneven. It does not falter with heat or fatigue. It pulses in silence, again and again, a heartbeat so perfect that it outlasts any human invention. When scientists built atomic clocks, they were not creating rhythm. They were listening to the one already playing, hidden in the atoms all along. Pause here. Inhale the patience of ceasing. Exhale the tick of perfect time. Atomic clocks changed the human relationship with time. Before them, the most precise clocks could lose a second in weeks or months. An atomic clock loses only 1 second in millions of years. With such precision, navigation became possible on a scale never imagined. Satellites orbit Earth, each carrying atomic clocks, sending signals that allow ships, planes, and phones to know their position within meters. Without these clocks, GPS would be impossible. The rhythm of atoms guides travelers across oceans, drivers across cities, hikers across mountains. Every journey you take, every map you open, rests on the heartbeat of cesium. Breathe gently. Inhale the hidden guidance above you. Exhale the quiet accuracy of atoms. Yet atomic clocks do more than guide. They synchronize communication across the globe. Fiber optic networks, financial markets, even the internet itself depend on clocks that agree down to billionths of a second. In the hum of invisible cesium beats lies the order of modern civilization. The world, vast and scattered, holds together because its clocks all follow the same drum. But there is beauty beyond utility. Atomic clocks reveal that time is not abstract, is woven into the very vibration of matter. Each atom carries its own rhythm, a pulse independent of human choice. You are surrounded by timekeepers at every scale, not only in machines, but in nature itself. The ticking of atoms is not imposed upon the universe. It emerges from it. Pause once more. Inhale the thought of hidden metronomes. Exhale into the dance of precision. Consider how extraordinary this is. A pendulum sways with friction. A watch ticks with gears. But atoms keep time because of quantum rules. Electrons change states in exact patterns. Energy is absorbed and released in fixed amounts. These are not accidents, but fundamental truths. The cesium atom is not special because humans chose it. Humans chose it because nature made it special. It already held the rhythm, waiting to be heard. Imagine now that you shrink inward, beyond skin and bone, past molecules and cells, until you stand among atoms themselves. You hear not silence, but rhythm, a million tiny drummers beating in perfect unison. Their rhythm does not rush, does not falter. It hums with constancy, a choir of pulses keeping time for the universe itself. Breathe again. Inhale the hum of unseen drums. Exhale into their endless steadiness. This steadiness has also revealed truths about the universe itself. With atomic clocks, scientists can test Einstein's theory of relativity. Place one clock at sea level and another on a mountain peak. And the one higher ticks faster, its rhythm slightly freer in weaker gravity. Time itself bends, confirmed by atoms tapping their beats. The clocks are so precise they can measure the slowing of time inside Earth's gravity well, proving that time is not universal, but relative. These experiments show that the beating of atoms is not only precise, it is sensitive. It listens to gravity, to speed, to the bending of space-time itself. In their steady rhythm, atoms whisper secrets about the cosmos. They reveal that time is not rigid, but flowing, stretching, curving with mass and motion. Pause gently. Inhale the bending of time. Exhale the patience of atoms, measuring it. And yet, there is comfort in this too. For while time may bend, while gravity may stretch it, the heartbeat of atoms persists. Their rhythm remains faithful, marking change even as the fabric of the universe shifts. In their constancy lies reassurance. You may not control the flow of time, but you can listen to its beating, steady and sure. Think now of your own heart. It beats not with perfect constancy, but with life's fluctuations, faster with fear, slower with rest. It changes with emotion, with exertion, with age. Yet it too is a clock, marking your own passage. The difference is that while your heart is human, warm, fallible, the cesium atom is universal, constant, impartial. Between them lies the poetry of time, one clock beating with blood, the other with quantum certainty. Breathe again. Inhale the rhythm of your heart. Exhale the rhythm of atoms. Together, they remind you that time is both intimate and cosmic, both fragile and eternal. Your seconds are lived in breaths and pulses, while the universe measures them in atomic vibrations. You are small compared to cesium's precision, yet your life gives time its meaning. The beating of atoms provides the measure, but your beating heart provides the story. As you prepare for rest, imagine lying in silence, your heart steady, your breath slow. Above you, satellites orbit, their atomic clocks humming. Around you, networks synchronize, guided by cesium's rhythm. And within you, atoms beat too, vibrating with the same constancy as the clocks they inspired. You are not outside, you are woven into it. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the hum of atomic drummers. Exhale the peace of their endless song. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. Atoms vibrate like the universe's smallest metronomes, their rhythm more precise than any human heart. From their beat, time itself is defined. You rest tonight in the company of cesium's drummers, knowing that the seconds of your life are carried on their perfect pulse. You have heard the steady beat of atoms, their tiny vibrations defining the second with a rhythm more precise than any heart. Yet now you discover that even this perfect beat is not the same everywhere. Time itself is not uniform. It bends, stretches, and slows under the influence of gravity. The ticking of a clock, no matter how exact, depends on where it rests. Imagine two identical clocks. Place one on a mountain peak and the other deep in a valley. You expect them to keep the same time, their cesium atoms beating in harmony, but they do not. The clock at the peak ticks a little faster, its rhythm freer in thinner gravity. The clock in the valley ticks slower, its beat held back by Earth's mass. Side by side, they would appear identical, but compared carefully, they drift apart. Breathe slowly. Inhale the strangeness of bending time. Exhale the weight of gravity's hand. This truth was first revealed by Einstein's theory of general relativity. He showed that mass bends not only space, but time itself. A planet, a star, even a black hole of them warp the fabric of space-time, and in that bending, time slows. To fall under the influence of gravity is to sink into a slower river of moments. The stronger the gravity, the slower the flow. You might picture time as a stream moving across a landscape. Where the ground is flat, the water runs easily. But where a mountain rises, the water pools and slows, caught in the gravity of stone. Time to pools around mass. It does not stop, but it lingers, slowed in valleys, sped on peaks. The universe, then, does not keep one universal rhythm. It plays countless rhythms, each shaped by gravity's slow hand. Pause here. Inhale the image of rivers. Exhale the pull of mountains. This slowing of time is not a theory left in books. It is tested, measured, and confirmed. In 1959, an experiment at Harvard used gamma rays to show that clocks tick differently at the top and bottom of a building. Later, atomic clocks placed on airplanes revealed the same. Those flying high ran slightly faster than those left on Earth today. GPS satellites orbiting Earth must correct for this difference constantly. Without adjustment, their signals would drift, and your location would be wrong by kilometers. Every time you check a map on your phone, you are relying on our knowledge that gravity slows time. The implications stretch far beyond Earth, near a neutron star. Time slows dramatically, crushed by gravity's pull. Near a black hole, time almost halts, dragged toward stillness by its density. To an observer far away, a falling object seems to freeze at the edge, caught in an endless pause. Time itself has been bent so tightly that its flow nearly vanishes. The slow hands of gravity hold it in place. Breathe gently. Inhale the stillness of deep gravity. Exhale the freedom of open space. And yet, even here, there is beauty. Gravity's ability to bend time ties together the motion of planets, the dance of galaxies, the very evolution of the universe. Without this bending, the cosmos would be different, its shapes and stories rewritten. The slowing of clocks in gravity wells is not a flaw. It reveals that time is woven, elastic, alive, not a rigid machine, but a flowing fabric that responds to mass. For you, this truth can also be metaphor. Your own experience of time bends under weight. When life feels heavy, when burdens press, moments stretch long. Days in sorrow can feel endless, minutes in waiting unbearable. When you are light, when joy lifts you, time races, hours dissolving into seconds. Your personal clock, like atomic clocks in mountains and valleys, is not uniform. It bends with your own gravity. Pause once more. Inhale the memory of heavy days. Exhale the lightness of fleeting joy. There is a lesson here. Time is relative, not only in physics, but in life. What feels eternal in one season may pass too quickly in another. To live is to experience these bends, these stretches, these moments of lingering and of flight. Just as no two clocks in different places keep exactly the same rhythm, no two lives measure time in the same way. Each carries its own gravity, its own slow hands. Imagine yourself standing in a valley. The river flows slowly here, circling pools and bends. Then imagine standing on a mountaintop where the water rushes quickly past stones. Both are the same river, but their speeds differ. Time, too, flows differently, depending on where you stand, what burdens you carry, how free you feel. To understand this is to soften your hold on the idea of a single, rigid time. It is to rest in the truth that time is many rivers, not one. Breathe again. Inhale the river's curve. Exhale the flow of many streams. Science tells us that as the universe expands, as gravity shapes stars and galaxies, time itself stretches with it. You are not outside of this. Your seconds, your breaths, are bound into the same fabric, whether in valleys or on peaks, whether underweight or in flight. You are carried by the hands of time, slow and steady, soft and unyielding as you prepare to rest. Imagine lying on Earth's surface, feeling the planet's mass beneath you. Its gravity holds oceans, mountains, and air, but it also holds time itself, slowing your seconds gently. Above you, satellites tick a little faster. Beyond them, the stars tick differently still, and farther still, near the heart of black holes, time nearly stops. All of these rhythms coexist, weaving a universe not of one clock, but of countless. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the many rhythms. Exhale into the fabric that unites them. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. Time bends near mass. A clock closer to Earth's core ticks slower than one higher up. Time is a river pulled by mountains, slowed in valleys, quickened on peaks. The universe does not keep the same time everywhere. You rest tonight in the arms of gravity's slow hands, comforted that even time itself is soft, flexible, and endlessly patient. You step now into another measure of time, one that joins distance and speed, one that links space itself to the rhythm of light. For centuries, people measured with sticks and stones, with rods of metal kept in vaults, guarded as standards. But those measures were fragile. A rod might warp with heat, shrink with cold, corrode with age. What the world needed was a measure that would not shift, one written not by human hands, but by the universe itself. And so, scientists turned to light, for light, unlike stone or metal, is constant. No matter where you are, no matter how fast you move, light always travels at the same speed, 299,792,458 meters per second. It is not just a beam, you see. It is a law woven into reality, a constant heartbeat. By using it, humans found a way to tie their rulers and clocks to the fabric of existence itself. Breathe slowly. Inhale the swiftness of light. Exhale the steadiness of its law. In earlier centuries, a meter was defined by a platinum radium bar stored in Paris. Scientists traveled to compare their rulers to it, trusting that its length remained true. But eventually, they discovered that even the most carefully kept artifact was imperfect. Light, however, was perfect, not in appearance, but in behavior. By anchoring the definition of a meter to the distance light travels in a tiny fraction of a second, humans replaced fragile matter with enduring principle. Now, 1 meter is defined as the distance light travels in 1/299th, 792,458 of a second. The ruler of the world is no longer a rod of metal, but the motion of photons, particles darting through space at cosmic speed. It is as if the universe itself offered its stitch, saying, "Here is how to measure. Pause here. Inhale the precision of photons. Exhale the fabric they sew." Imagine a photon leaving a star. It moves without hesitation, constant, steady. Across space, it races, sewing the distance between galaxies, slipping into your eyes as starlight. That same speed defines the meter in your world, linking your smallest rulers to the largest reaches of the cosmos. From the stride of your step to the diameter of Earth's orbit, all measurements are anchored by light's constancy. And this constancy is not only practical, it is profound. Einstein built his theory of relativity upon it, showing that because light speed is unchanging, space and time themselves must flex and bend. Clocks tick differently. Rulers stretch or shrink depending on motion and gravity. Yet light's pace remains untouched. It is the standard by which the universe adjusts itself, the thread that holds its fabric together. Breathe gently. Inhale the unyielding speed. Exhale the softness of bending space. For technology, this definition of light as ruler carries immense consequence. Laser beams measure the distance to the moon within centimeters. Fiber optics carry signals across continents, timing them by fractions of a nanosecond. Satellites orbit Earth, guided by calculations written in light speed. The internet, global positioning, even the synchronization of power grids all lean on light's unwavering pace. But beyond the machines, there is a metaphor here. Light, the very thing that allows you to see, also allows you to measure. It does not only reveal the world, it defines it. It is both messenger and ruler, both vision and law. To look at a beam of light is to glimpse the standard by which the universe holds itself. Pause once more. Inhale the vision of light. Exhale the measure it carries. Consider also how human perception ties into this truth. The speed of light defines not only meters, but horizons. You never see the stars as they are now, but as they were when their photons began their journey. A ruler of space is also a ruler of time. To measure distance with light is to measure history itself. Every glance into the night sky is also a look into the past, stitched together by photons racing across centuries. In this sense, light as ruler is also light as storyteller. It brings you the tale of a supernova, the echo of a galaxy's birth, the flicker of stars long gone. Each meter of distance, each second of travel, becomes a line in the story. You read the universe through the language of light. Breathe again. Inhale the stories sewn into photons. Exhale the silence of their travel. And perhaps, too, you can let this truth rest within your life. Just as light defines the measure of distance, you may define your life not by rigid standards, but by constancies, by kindness, by love, by breath. These, like light, remain steady even when everything else bends. They become the rulers by which your days are stitched, threads sewing meaning into the fabric of your time as you prepare to rest. Imagine photons as swift messengers sewing across space. They stitch stars to planets, galaxies to eyes, rulers to clocks. They dart endlessly, never tiring, never slowing, carrying both vision and measure. Around you, invisible waves of light travel constantly, bouncing, reflecting, filling space with motion. You are surrounded always by rulers you cannot see, yet they hold your world together. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the constancy of light. Exhale into the fabric it defines. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. A meter is no longer a piece of metal, but the distance light travels in a fraction of a second. Light stitches space and time together. Photons as needles sewing reality's cloth. You rest tonight in the quiet presence of light as ruler, knowing that the cosmos itself defines its measure through these swift messengers, carrying both precision and wonder. You have followed time from shadows to atoms, from the bending hands of gravity to the constant stitch of light. Yet there is another clock, one older than any human invention, older even than stars. It is written not in stone or in metal, not even in atoms, but in the very glow of the universe itself. This is the cosmic microwave background, the faint radiation that fills all of space, an echo of the first light. It is the oldest clock you will ever know, a cradle song still playing after 13.8 billion years. Imagine standing in the dark with your eyes closed. At first, you think the silence is complete. Then you notice a faint hum, so soft it seems like silence itself singing. The cosmic background is that hum, the afterglow of the Big Bang. It is everywhere, all around you, woven into the fabric of space. Even in emptiness, it is present, a whisper that never stops. Breathe slowly. Inhale the ancient glow. Exhale into its endless song. This light began when the universe was only 380,000 years old. Before that, matter was too hot, too dense, too full of free electrons for light to travel freely. Photons scattered constantly, unable to escape. But as the cosmos expanded and cooled, atoms formed, and suddenly light could move through space. That first free light has been traveling ever since, stretched by the expansion of the universe into faint microwaves. When scientists detect it today, they are seeing the afterglow of creation itself. You might imagine the universe then as a newborn, wrapped in fire, radiating everywhere. Over billions of years, the fire dimmed and cooled, but its memory remained in the background radiation, now chilled to just a few degrees above absolute zero. Still, it hums. Still, it glows. Still, it keeps time for everything that followed. Pause here. Inhale the memory of fire. Exhale the softness of cooled light. The discovery of this cosmic background was almost accidental. In the 1960s, two scientists, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, tried to tune a radio antenna. But no matter what they did, they heard a constant hiss. They thought it might be pigeons nesting in the equipment, but after cleaning, the hiss remained. It was the universe itself they were hearing, the background radiation predicted by cosmologists, the hum of the cosmos speaking softly. That faint noise told humanity its own story. The Big Bang was not theory alone, but memory written into space. Since then, satellites and telescopes have mapped the background with exquisite precision. They have revealed tiny ripples, minute variations in temperature, like freckles on the infant face of the universe. Those ripples became the seeds of galaxies, the first structures forming from randomness. In them, we see the blueprint of everything, the pattern that would grow into stars, planets, and eventually you. The background is not only a clock, it is a map of destiny, a photograph of the universe's childhood. Breathe gently. Inhale the blueprint of galaxies. Exhale the ripples of possibility. The background radiation hums at the same frequency everywhere. No matter where you look, in every direction, you find it, like a fabric stretched across the sky. This universality is profound. It means that you live in a cosmos that once was whole, once uniform, once bound in light. Every breath you take, every star you see, every shadow you rest in, all of them trace back to that first hum. This hum also tells time. By measuring its properties, its temperature, Its ripples, scientists can calculate the age of the universe itself. 13.8 billion years. No clock on Earth can measure such spans. No sundial, no pendulum, no atomic tick can hold that weight. Only the universe's own cradle song can tell it. To hear the cosmic background is to hear not just sound, but age itself, spoken softly across eternity. Pause once more. Inhale the age of stars. Exhale the patience of billions of years. For you, this is more than science. It is comfort. The background glow reminds you that even in emptiness, something remains. Silence is never truly silent. Darkness is never truly dark. Within them hums the memory of beginnings, a warmth that cannot be erased. Even when you feel alone, even when your own story feels small, you are surrounded by this ancient song. Think of your own childhood. How fragments of it remains, melds, colors, echoes of voices. The universe, too, keeps its memory. Its childhood hum still fills space, not loud, not obvious, but constant. Just as your earliest moments shaped you, the universe's earliest light shaped everything you see. To live now is to carry that memory forward. Breathe again. Inhale the comfort of hidden memory. Exhale into the patience of time. The cosmic background also mirrors the rhythm of your own rest. Just as the universe cooled into calm after its fiery birth, so do you cool into sleep after the heat of day. Just as the background hum persists, so do your own quiet rhythms continue, even when you no longer notice them. You, too, carry an echo, your heartbeat, your breath, your dreams. Within you is your own background, your own song humming softly beneath silence. And there is metaphor here too. The faintest signals can carry the deepest truths. The hum that Penzias and Wilson found was nearly dismissed as noise, yet it turned out to be the key to understanding the universe. In the same way, the whispers in your own life, the soft feelings, the fleeting thoughts may carry truths more profound than the loudest events. What seems like background may be the essence. As you prepare to rest, imagine yourself lying beneath the night sky. All around you, invisible waves, passant microwaves, born billions of years ago, stretched by time, softened by distance, yet still present. You do not hear them, yet they bathe you. You do not see them, yet they hold you. They are the lullaby of the universe, the cradle song of creation, still playing after all this time. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the hum of beginnings. Exhale into the embrace of echoes. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. The universe itself carries an ancient clock, the faint glow of the Big Bang, telling the age of everything. It is not gone. It is here, everywhere, humming softly, holding you as part of its long memory. You rest tonight in the song of the cosmic background, a melody begun in fire, cooled into silence, yet still playing patient and gentle. After 13.8 billion years, look up at the night sky and you see not only beauty, but rhythm. Each star that twinkles is more than light, it is a timekeeper, a clock written in fire. For while humans build watches and atomic devices to track seconds, the universe offers its own clocks, hidden in the beating and spinning of stars. Some stars are steady, shining without pause. Others flicker with astonishing precision, pulsing like celestial metronomes. These are variable stars, their brightness rising and falling in cycles, as predictable as the ticking of a watch. Astronomers measure their flickers, finding them so regular that they can be used to map the distances between galaxies. Each pulse is like a heartbeat of the cosmos, keeping time not just for itself, but for the scale of the universe. Breathe slowly. Inhale the flicker of stars. Exhale the rhythm of their light. One kind of star, called a Cepheid variable, has brightness that waxes and wanes in steady patterns. By studying their periods, the length of their pulses, scientists discovered how to measure vast cosmic distances. These stars became mile markers, their regular ticks extending humanity's reach far into space. To gaze at a Cepheid star is to watch both a flicker and a ruler, a cosmic beacon stretching across time and distance. Other stars keep time in different ways. Some collapse into neutron stars, dense remnants left after supernova. A neutron star may spin hundreds of times per second, sending beams of radiation that sweep across space like lighthouse beams. To a distant observer, the star appears to blink in perfect intervals. These pulsars are among the most accurate clocks in the universe. Their rotations are so stable that they can rival atomic clocks, losing less than a second over millions of years. You have traced time through shadows, atoms, gravity, light, and stars. Each measure brought clarity, a way to mark the passing of moments. Yet, as you drift down into the smallest scales, certainty fades. The quantum world opens like a mist, soft and strange. And here, you encounter a question as delicate as it is profound. Is time truly smooth, or is it made of flickers too fine for you to see? Imagine holding sand in your hand. From a distance, it looks like a continuous surface, soft and unbroken. But up close, it is grains upon grains, each tiny, each distinct. Could time be like this? Could the flow you feel as continuizer seconds, your hours actually be a cascade of invisible grains, discrete ticks stitched together? Breathe slowly. Inhale the smooth river of time. Exhale into its possible grains. Quantum mechanics does not offer easy answers. At its core, it describes particles leaping, probabilities collapsing, energies existing only in specific steps. Electrons do not glide between levels. They jump. Light does not arrive as a smear. It comes in photons, tiny packets. So physicists ask, if matter and energy are quantized, might time itself be quantized too? At scales familiar to you, time feels seamless. Seconds flow into minutes. Days stretch into years. But at the Planck scale, the smallest unit known to physics, time may break into unimaginable brevity. A Planck time is about 10 seconds, a number so small it escapes ordinary imagination. It is the time it would take light to cross the smallest distance possible. Below this scale, the concept of before and after may lose meaning. Time itself may no longer exist as you know it. Inhale the vastness of a second. Exhale the flicker of a Planck time. To grasp this is to imagine now, not as a smooth wave, but as a flutter. Each instant might be like a shutter opening and closing, so fast it blurs into continuity. You never see the gaps, but perhaps they are there, woven invisibly into existence. Just as a film appears as motion, though it is made of still frames, your life might be a sequence of invisible ticks stitched together into a flow. Quantum theories of gravity wrestle with this mystery. Some suggest space-time is granular, a weave of finite threads. Others argue it remains continuous, a fabric with no smallest piece. Experiments have yet to decide. The flutter remains hidden beyond microscopes, beyond accelerators. But the question itself invites you to rest in wonder. Is reality smooth, or is it secretly stitched? Breathe gently. Inhale the softness of continuity. Exhale the possibility of stitches. This mystery is not only for physicists. It speaks to how you live your own moments. Do you experience life as a flow, one day sliding into another? Or do you experience it in flickers, a sudden laugh, a sharp memory, a single kiss that stand apart, discreet, unforgettable? Perhaps your life, like quantum time, is both a river and a sequence of grains. The flutter can also be imagined as music. A note on a violin seems smooth, a sustained hum, yet it is built from vibrations, oscillations too fast to perceive. Your ear hears continuity, but beneath it lies flicker. Perhaps time itself sings the same way, a continuous melody, hiding its quantum beats. Pause once more. Inhale the music of flowing time. Exhale the unseen rhythm beneath it. Some thinkers wonder if consciousness itself is tied to this flutter. If the brain perceives reality in discrete frames, then your sense of now might be a construction stitched together from flashes. You feel continuity, but you may be moving from tick to tick, moment to moment, too fast to notice. The quantum flutter might not only belong to the universe, it might belong to you, and here lies metaphor. Life often feels smooth, but its meaning is found in flickers. A kind word, a moment of silence, a sudden insight. Each one is a quantum of experience, a grain of time that shapes the whole. You may not see the stitches, but they hold your life together, frame by frame. Breathe again. Inhale the flickers of memory. Exhale into the flow they create. As you prepare for rest, imagine yourself holding a handful of sand. The grains are too fine to count, too small to see clearly, yet they exist, countless and real. Let this be your picture of time. Perhaps it flows, perhaps it flickers, perhaps it is both smooth river, stitched grains, melody and beat. What matters is that you are carried by it, gently, continuously, into tomorrow. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the flow of time's river. Exhale the flutter of its grains. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. At the smallest scales, time may come in flickers, tiny ticks instead of seamless flow. Whether continuous or stitched, it remains mystery. And in that mystery lies comfort that now is vast enough to hold both smoothness and flutter, both river and sand. You rest tonight in the quantum flutter, drifting like grains, too fine to see, held in the soft rhythm of the universe. You have wandered through cosmic clocks and quantum flutters, tracing time from the echoes of the Big Bang to the ticking of stars. Yet now, the vastness narrows back to something closer: your own body, your own breath, your own heart. For time is not only written in atoms and galaxies, it is also written in you. Breathe slowly. Inhale the rhythm within. Exhale into the softness of being alive. Your heart is your first clock. Before you are born, it begins to beat, steady and patient, marking moments before you even know what a moment is. With each pulse, blood carries oxygen, nourishment, life. A healthy heart beats some 3 billion times over a lifetime, ticking away, not in seconds, but in the gift of continuance. It is not as precise as an atomic clock, yet it is truer to your experience, because you feel it not only as rhythm, but as presence. Your breath is another clock. Inhale, exhale, repeating endlessly, rising and falling like the universe itself. Some breaths are calm, some are hurried, but each one marks time in a way no machine can. A clock on the wall may tell you how long an hour lasts, but your breath tells you how that hour feels, whether it was anxious and shallow or slow and deep. Pause here. Inhale the patience of your heart. Exhale the flow of your breath. Sleep, too, is a clock. Each night, your brain moves through cycles: light sleep, deep sleep, dreaming. These cycles repeat every 90 minutes or so, keeping time as faithfully as any pendulum. Without them, memory fades, mood crumbles, body and mind unravel. To sleep is to keep rhythm with yourself, to return to balance after the day. Time here is not abstract, it is restorative, an ebb and flow that heals, and memory, perhaps the most human clock of all. You do not measure moments only by numbers, but by their weight in memory. A childhood day may feel longer in recollection than an entire week of adulthood. A fleeting moment of joy may glow forever, while years of routine vanish into blur. Memory stitches time differently than physics does, creating an inner clock that obeys the heart more than the cosmos. Breathe gently. Inhale the glow of remembered moments. Exhale the blur of those forgotten dots. Science tells us that this elasticity of time perception is tied to attention, to emotion, to novelty. When you are fully engaged, time stretches. When you are bored or distracted, time collapses. Thus, time is not only outside you, measured by cesium atoms or photons. It is also inside you, shaped by feeling, sculpted by awareness. To measure a moment is also to feel it. Think of laughter shared with someone you love. The clock on the wall insists that hours have passed, but to you it feels like only minutes. Think of waiting in a hospital, each minute dragging, every second heavy. The clock has not changed its pace, but your experience has. Human time is lived, not counted. Pause once more. Inhale the weight of waiting. Exhale the lightness of joy. There are other human clocks as well. The growth of bones, the graying of hair, the fading of skin, the cycles of hormones, the rhythms of hunger and digestion. The body itself is a collection of timekeepers, each ticking at its own rate, each carrying you through life. Circadian rhythms align you with the sun, telling you when to wake, when to sleep. Seasonal rhythms shape your moods, your energy, your health. You are not separate from the cosmos. Clocks, you are synchronized with them, tuned by light and dark, tide and season. And yet, in the midst of all these rhythms, there is something beyond measurement. There is the ineffable quality of a moment lived fully, a sunset that feels endless, a silence that feels sacred, a gaze that feels eternal. These moments resist numbers, slipping past measurement into meaning. They are proof that time, for humans, is not only physics, is poetry. Breathe again. Inhale the eternity of a sunset. Exhale the brevity of a heartbeat as you prepare to rest. Imagine your body as a constellation of clocks. Your heart beats. Your lungs rise and fall. Your cells divide and renew. Your mind gathers and releases memories. Each rhythm is part of you, part of the symphony of being alive. And beyond all of them, there is the way you feel time, the stretch and collapse, the glow and fading, the softness of being here. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the rhythm of your body. Exhale the truth of your experience. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. Time is not only physics, not only the ticking of atoms or the bending of gravity. It is also human. It is the beat of your heart, the cycles of your sleep, the fading of your memories. To measure a moment is also to feel it. You rest tonight in your own rhythm, knowing that your heart, your breath, your dreams, and your memories keep their own clocks, marking the passage of your human time. You have wandered through the vastness of time, measured by shadows, by atoms, by gravity, by light, by stars, and by the faint echoes of the Big Bang. You have traced it through the smallest quantum flickers and the most human of moments. Each chapter has revealed a different face of time, precise, elastic, cosmic, intimate. And now, at last, you return to the place where all of it gathers, the present, the endless now. Time can feel like a river carrying you forward, past the shores of memory and toward the ocean of what is yet to come. But if you pause, if you let the flow slow, you notice something profound. You never actually leave the present. The past is recollection. The future is imagination. But your life always happens here, in the instant unfolding before you. Breathe slowly. Inhale the presence of now. Exhale the weight of past and future. This present is not small. It is wide, boundless, spacious. It holds not only what you see and feel in this breath, but the echoes of everything before and the seeds of everything after. The now is not a thin edge between past and future. It is a field, a horizon that extends endlessly in every direction. To rest in it is to rest in the fullness of being. Science has measured time in precise rhythms, the beats of cesium atoms, the pulses of stars, the faint microwave glow of the cosmos. Yet even these measurements are grounded in the now. An atomic clock does not live in the past or the future. It ticks in each present instant. A pulsar spins, not yesterday or tomorrow, but now. The cosmic background hums, not 13.8 billion years ago, but here, still arriving in every moment. Even the deepest past is experienced as present. Pause here. Inhale the truth of presence. Exhale the illusion of elsewhere. Quantum physics deepens this idea. It tells you that the future is not fixed until the present gives it shape. A particle exists in probabilities until measured, until now. The universe unfolds not in certainty across all of time, but in choices realized in the present. What you call reality is stitched from these instants, each one a flutter of being in your own life. The present holds similar power. The past may weigh heavy, yet it is memory, living only because you recall it in the present. The future may pull at you with worry or hope, yet it is imagination, existing only because you envision it now. Everything that feels real is happening here. This is not limitation, but but freedom. You do not need to carry the whole of time. You need only rest in this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. Breathe gently. Inhale the freedom of now. Exhale the burden of elsewhere. The present is not empty, it is alive. Each second is full of detail, the softness of air on your skin, the hum of distant sounds, the quiet rhythm of breath. These details are not trivial. They are the texture of being. To notice them is to enter the endless now fully. To see that the moment is not something to pass through, but something to inhabit. Consider how children live. For them, a game, a laugh, a glance can feel eternal. They do not measure the present. They dive into it. For them, time stretches because the now is everything. Adults often lose this, pulled by memory, pressed by anticipation. But the truth remains. The now is always here, waiting to be noticed. Pause once more. Inhale the eternity of play. Exhale the return to simplicity. Even in suffering, the present holds meaning. Pain becomes heavier when tied to stories of past or fears of future. But when you rest in the now, you feel only what is happening in this moment. It may not be easy, but it is less than the burden of carrying all time at once. To breathe into the now is to reduce pain to a single moment, bearable, passing, alive. This is why practices of stillness meditation, prayer, reflection always return to the present. They ask nothing more than to notice what already is, to sit in silence, to feel breath. To listen to heartbeat is to align yourself with the endless now. You do not need to chase the universe across billions of years. The cosmos is here, in your breath, in this second, in this stillness. Breathe again. Inhale the presence of silence. Exhale into the vastness of being here. Philosophers and poets have long spoken of this truth. Eternity is not endless time, they suggest, but the fullness of now. Eternity is not something far away. It is the richness of this moment, experienced deeply. The endless now is eternity unfolding in real time. It is not measured in hours or years, but in awareness, in the act of being present. And so, the greatest mystery of time is not its beginning or end, not its bending under gravity, not its quantum flickers. The greatest mystery is that you are here at all, conscious in this now, able to feel it. Of all the possible moments in all of the universe's span, you are alive in this one. That is the miracle. As you prepare for rest, let go of clocks, of calendars, of calculations. Imagine yourself floating in a still ocean, no past, no future, only the gentle rocking of the present. Around you, stars tick, galaxies spin, atoms vibrate, yet all of it is happening here, stitched into your now. You are not late. You are not early. You are exactly where time meets itself. Breathe one final time with this vision. Inhale the fullness of now. Exhale into the endlessness of being here. And as you close this chapter, you carry a reflection. The universe may stretch time across atoms and stars, across billions of years, across endless distances. Yet your life always happens here in this present, in this breath, in this now. You rest tonight in the endless now, eyes closed, heart steady, knowing that you do not need to chase time. It has always been here, waiting, unfolding, gentle. Time once felt different, slower, more deliberate, before atomic clocks and satellites. before the steady hum of electronics. There was the pendulum, a weight suspended on a rod or string, swinging back and forth with a rhythm so dependable that it reshaped how humans measured their days. You imagine walking into a quiet room centuries ago and hearing it the tick each swing, a heartbeat of brass and wood, each motion a breath of time. The pendulum's secret lies in its constancy. A longer string makes a slower swing, a shorter string a faster one, yet once set. Each pendulum keeps its own rhythm with astonishing loyalty. Galileo is said to have noticed this while watching a lamp sway gently in a cathedral. Its movement hypnotic, steady, almost sacred. From that simple observation, a revolution in timekeeping began. Imagine the weight of history shifting because of a swinging stone. Before pendulums, clocks were rough companions, their gears slipping, their hands wandering. But with pendulums, minutes and seconds became precise. Ships could navigate more safely. Cities could organize life more carefully. Science could measure with new accuracy. A pendulum, patient and repetitive, gave the world order. You picture the pendulum itself, a brass bob gleaming faintly in candlelight, a wooden case surrounding it, a clock face above marking hours with painted numbers. As it swings, it speaks without words. The sound is not rushed. It is a reminder that time does not need to sprint. It only needs to move forward, steadily, predictably. In a farmhouse, in a palace, in a city square, the pendulum became the world's steady metronome. Pendulums are like storytellers who never tire. Each arc is the same as the last, yet each also carries you forward. Their rhythm is dependable because it draws its power from gravity itself, the constant pull of Earth. Always present, always patient. Gravity holds the pendulum and whispers the tempo of time through its motion. You imagine living in that era, when the pendulum was the master of seconds. The sound filled homes and workshops. Children grew up with its patient music echoing through their days. It was not a harsh alarm or an impatient buzz, but a slow, dignified heartbeat, allowing life to unfold with rhythm and grace. To sleep near such a clock was to rest beside time itself, its voice always present, yet never demanding. Pendulum clocks also became companions of exploration. They guided sailors on long voyages, where knowing the precise hour meant knowing one's position on the vast seas. A pendulum, swaying in its careful arc, could mean the difference between finding a safe harbor or being lost to the endless waves. Time, once abstract, became a tool for survival, and the pendulum its faithful keeper. But beyond their utility, pendulums carried poetry. To watch them swing is to witness balance made visible. They lean one way, then return, then lean again. They are never hurried, never still. They remind you of breath, of the tides, of the pulse in your wrist. They are proof that rhythm lies not only in music, but in the fabric of the world itself. With every swing, the pendulum teaches patience. It does not resist its path, nor does it rush to its end. It moves because it must. Yet within that inevitability lies elegance. Perhaps this is why their sound feels comforting. It mirrors the constancy of existence itself. The reassurance that life is carried forward by steady hands. Even today, though digital numbers glow silently on our devices, pendulum clocks remain. In museums, in old halls, in the corners of homes, they still swing. Their rhythm has not lost its dignity, even if the world around them has grown faster. They remind us that time was once something you could hear and feel, not just see. The pendulum is more than a machine, it is a bridge. It ties human life to the pull of gravity, to the balance of motion, to the earth itself. Its tick is the voice of physics turned gentle, the sound of law and order made into music. As you imagine the pendulum's swing, you feel yourself rocked by its rhythm. Left, right, past, future. A balance in motion, a reminder that time is not only the seconds counted, but also the steady pattern of being. And so, the tick of a pendulum is not only history's clock, it is also your own. It echoes the balance within you, the need for rest and motion, silence and sound. It holds a wisdom older than machines, that the universe keeps time, not with urgency, but with patience. The pendulum still swings, steady and slow, as if whispering that time is not to be rushed, but to be lived. You picture an hourglass resting on a table, its shape simple yet elegant, two glass bulbs joined at a narrow throat. Inside, sand begins to fall, one grain after another, slipping from fullness to emptiness with unbroken rhythm. Time here is not measured in ticks or beeps, but in a soft stream, steady and patient. Each grain carries a moment. Each moment gone, the instant it falls. The hourglass is one of the oldest companions of human timekeeping. Long before pendulums and atomic oscillations, people turned glass and watched sand drift. In ships at sea, in monasteries at prayer, in homes where tasks were measured, the hourglass stood as a quiet keeper of order. It was portable, reliable, and precise enough to divide life into pieces, small enough to grasp. You imagine sailors turning the glass aboard a vessel, waves rocking beneath them as sand flowed within. Each turn marked the change of a watch, the passage of duty, the rhythm of a journey across endless water. You picture monks bowing in stone halls, the sand marking prayers, chants, and cycles of devotion. Even in kitchens, sand once guided the baking of bread, its fall steady where clocks were absent. What makes the hourglass so captivating is its silence. It does not intrude, it whispers. The sand does not demand your attention, yet it draws your eye. You watch it fall, hypnotic, grain by grain. Time becomes visible in its passage. Where a pendulum ticked and talked, the hourglass simply flowed. Each grain of sand is a fragment of stone, once part of mountains, now worn smooth and small by rivers and winds. To think that mountains themselves become time is to glimpse the poetry of the hourglass. What once stood immovable now flows like water, carrying minutes instead of rivers. You hold this thought gently. Time is not only built from stars and atoms, but from Earth itself, ground into countless grains. There is also comfort in the hourglass's symmetry. When one side empties, the other is full, waiting to begin again. To turn it over is to remind yourself that endings are not absolute. What falls away returns in new form. The stream may pause, but it is never gone. Life itself often feels like this moment's ending, only to feed into beginnings elsewhere. An hourglass teaches patience. You cannot rush the sand. You cannot pause it either. The flow is constant, steady, beyond your will. In watching, you learn to accept. You learn that time is not conquered, only accompanied. To sit before an hourglass is to rest in surrender, allowing each grain to fall as it must. And yet, the hourglass also teaches value. When the sand runs low, you feel its urgency. You see how little remains, how soon the flow will cease. It reminds you that moments are finite, that minutes are treasures, not to be hoarded, but to be lived. In this way, the hourglass is both soothing and stirring, a companion that invites calm awareness of the present. You imagine holding one now, turning it in your hands, feeling its weight. The sand within is ancient, older than you, older than the glass itself. And yet, in falling, it becomes your moment, your time, your now. You are not watching stone alone. You are watching your own life measured in delicate grains. Even in our modern age, where time pulses invisibly in electronics, the hourglass still speaks. On desks, in games, in symbols, it endures. It is a reminder that while machines may count with precision, time is felt in flow. We are drawn to its image not because we need it, but because it reminds us of something timeless, that life moves in quiet streams, not just in numbers. As you picture sand slipping through the narrow passage, you realize that time is always both falling away and beginning anew. Each grain is past once fallen, present as it descends, future as it waits above. The hourglass shows you all three at once: memory, moment, possibility. And so you rest with the falling sand. You do not grasp at it, for it cannot be held. You do not resist it, for it must fall. Instead, you let it pass through your gaze, as through your hands, soft and steady. The hourglass whispers what all timekeepers whisper, that life is fragile, fleeting, and beautiful precisely because it moves in the stillness of the universe, where silence stretches across unimaginable distances. There exist clocks that no human hand has crafted. They are not brass pendulums or glass hourglasses, but stars collapsed, fierce, unyielding. These are pulsars, neutron stars, that spin with such precision. Their beams of light sweep across the cosmos like the hands of a celestial metronome. A pulsar begins with an ending. A massive star burns through its fuel, collapses inward, and in its death throes explodes as a supernova. What remains is not dust alone, but a heart of pure density, a sphere barely 20 kilometers wide, yet packed with more mass than the sun. In this tiny body, matter is crushed into neutrons, so tightly bound that a spoonful would outweigh mountains. From collapse emerges a remnant that does not fade, but spectacular, relentless, unstoppable. You imagine such a star spinning hundreds of times each second. Around it, magnetic fields twist and flare. From its poles, beams of radiation stream outward, invisible in most directions, but flashing like a lighthouse when they sweep across Earth. These flashes appear as regular ticks, a rhythm so exact it rivals the most precise atomic clocks. In the darkness, pulsars keep time, not with gears or circuits, but with the turning of matter itself. Some pulsars tick slowly, once every second or so, their light like the beating of a calm heart. Others, called millisecond pulsars, spin hundreds of times a second, whirling so steadily that they lose only fractions of a second over millions of years. Imagine a clock so patient, so faithful, that it outlasts civilizations, languages, even planets. That is the gift of pulsars. Time written in starlight, steady long after we are gone. When scientists first discovered them in the 1960s, they were startled by the regularity of the signals. The pulses seemed too exact, too deliberate. For a time, the signals were nicknamed LGM, for little green men, because some wondered if they could be alien beacons. But the truth proved even stranger. It was not intelligence, but physics. Not language, but rhythm, written into the remains of stars. The universe itself had built clocks. You drift with the thought of pulsars, scattered like hidden lighthouses through the galaxy. Some are young, born from recent supernova, their beams still wild and energetic. Others are old, slowed by age, but steady. Each one is a ticking lantern in the dark, marking the passage of cosmic time with unflinching accuracy. Astronomers use pulsars to map the galaxy, to test Einstein's theories, to search for the faint ripples of gravitational waves. By watching their tiny variations, scientists can sense when space-time itself is bending, stretched by collisions of black holes or the merging of neutron stars across the universe. Pulsars, then, are not only clocks. They are instruments tuned to the fabric of reality itself. But beyond the science lies the poetry. A star that once blazed, collapsed, and nearly vanished now becomes a keeper of rhythm. It is like a singer whose final note echoes endlessly, steady and strong. Pulsars are stars that died, yet still keep time for the universe. Their pulses as steady as breath, as faithful as tides. You imagine lying beneath the night sky, your own pulse slow and quiet, while above you, invisible beams sweep the galaxy. Your heartbeat joins their rhythm, one small tick among billions. For a moment, time feels less like something passing and more like something shared. The universe is not only expanding, not only changing, it is keeping time too, in ways both vast and intimate. The tick of a pendulum marked human centuries. The fall of grains marked daily tasks. The beating of atoms defined an age of precision. But pulsars belong to another scale altogether, a cosmic measure of time. They are the universe's metronomes, steady even as galaxies drift apart. As stars are born and die, their light may flicker across our instruments, but their rhythm endures across eons. You rest in the thought that stars themselves keep time, and in their ticking, you find not only measurement, but comfort. Time does not only live in stars, pendulums, or grains of sand. It also dwells in the quiet growth of trees. Inside every trunk, hidden beneath bark, lies a record more patient than any human clock. Rings, fine and subtle, circling outward with each passing year. These rings are the calendar of the forest, a memory etched in wood. Imagine slicing through the trunk of an old oak. Beneath the rough bark, pale circles spread like ripples across water. Each one marks a year. The wide rings speak of seasons with abundant rain and gentle warmth. The narrow rings whisper of drought, of struggle, of years when growth slowed. Every ring is a story of sunlight, of storms, of survival. Trees are not silent. They are archivists of time. Scientists call this dendrochronology, the study of tree rings. With care, they read the lines like words in a book. From them, they learn about floods, fires, and volcanic eruptions that darken skies, centuries ago. They trace ancient droughts that shaped human history, famines that altered empires, seasons that carried both hardship and renewal. Trees do not forget. Even when the world moves on, the wood remembers. You picture a forest as a library, each trunk a volume, each ring a page. Walking through, you do not just see leaves and branches, you see time layered, stacked in silence, awaiting those who know how to read. Some trees live hundreds of years, others thousands. The bristlecone pines of the high mountains have stood for nearly 5 millennia. Their rings tell stories older than pyramids, older than written language, older than most civilizations. In their wood lies the rhythm of earth itself. There is something humbling about the slowness of a tree. Unlike a pendulum or an atomic clock, it does not measure seconds or minutes. Instead, it measures life itself. Each ring is a whole year compressed into a single layer. Where we rush through days, trees pause for seasons. They know patience in a way we can only glimpse. Trees also remind you that time is not uniform. Growth is not steady, nor is it predictable. It swells and contracts with conditions or drought, warmth or frost, fire or peace. A tree may thrive in one year and nearly perish the next, yet its rings show both with equal honesty. Time in the trees is not abstract. It is lived, felt, endured. You imagine resting your palm on a great trunk, your skin against bark. Beneath your hand lies centuries of memory, stored quietly, invisibly. The tree has felt countless dawns, storms, winters, and summers, yet it stands without rush, holding its history inside. To touch it is to touch time itself. Forests, too, are vast clocks. Together, their rings synchronize into patterns that stretch across continents. When scientists compare rings from trees in different places, they see echoes of the same droughts, the same rains. A single dry summer might narrow rings in oaks in Europe, pines in Asia, and sequoias in America. The forest becomes a choir, each tree singing its own note, yet together, carrying the same song of Earth's seasons. Trees carry personal time as well. A sapling planted by one generation may stand tall for the next. Families plant trees at births, at weddings, at partings. The tree grows as people live and die around it, carrying the memory of those moments forward. In this way, trees are companions across generations, guardians of memory beyond human lifespans. Even fallen trees, once cut or decayed, do not lose their stories. Their rings remain preserved in wood or stone. Fossilized trunks hold records of climates from millions of years ago, when Earth itself wore a different face. Through them, we glimpse worlds long gone, forests that no longer stand, yet whose time still whispers in the fossil grain. You rest in the thought that trees measure time not with urgency, but with grace. They do not hurry to mark the seconds. They do not fear when seasons shift. They embody endurance, the quiet strength of patience. A tree's time is not the time of clocks, but the time of life cycles, rhythms, growth, and rest. When you next walk in a forest, you might hear the hush of leaves, the creak of branches. But beneath that sound lies another rhythm, the invisible ticking of rings, the silent heartbeat of wood. Each step you take is beside beings that have counted centuries, who have felt storms before you, and will feel them after. They stand as witnesses, keepers of Earth's long memory. Time in the trees is not just recorded, it is lived into being. Every ring is a testament to survival, to adaptation, to life that continues no matter what. You imagine yourself as a ring too, a single circle added to the great tree of existence, your year marked, your presence recorded in ways you may never see. And so, you close your eyes and feel the slow patience of the forest. The rings turn silently within trunks around you, centuries overlapping in wood. You are part of that rhythm now. Your breath, another note in Earth's long song, high in the mountains, where snow never fully melts, glaciers are born. Layer upon layer of snowfall presses down, compacting into ice so heavy it begins to move. At first, the motion is imperceptible, measured not in steps or hours, but in centuries. Yet, over time, entire valleys are carved, continents are shaped, and seas are fed. Glaciers are time in motion, flowing rivers of frozen memory. You imagine standing at the edge of such a glacier, its surface cracked and blue, its body stretching beyond sight. It looks still, as if frozen, not only in form, but in action. Yet, if you could wait long enough years, decades, lifetimes, you would see it creep, inch by inch, stone by stone, sculpting the world. What feels to you like stillness is, in truth, movement on a slower scale. Glaciers carry history within them. Each layer of ice traps, bubbles of air, pollen, dust, even fragments of ash from distant eruptions. To study them is to read a frozen diary of Earth's climate, a record stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. In Greenland and Antarctica, scientists drill deep cores of ice, peeling back time like pages. Within these frozen cylinders lie the breaths of ancient skies, the memory of storms, the trace of shifting seasons long before human history began. Like tree rings or sedimentary layers, glaciers are archives. But unlike trees or rocks, they are also alive with motion. Their slow flow grinds valleys into U-shapes, polishes stones into smooth curves, and leaves behind moraines, ridges of rock, carried and then abandoned. You can walk across a landscape today and feel the ghost of a glacier that passed thousands of years before, its path still carved into the bones of the land. Imagine the patience of such a clock, where pendulums mark seconds and sand counts minutes. Glaciers measure epochs. They do not rush. They cannot. Their language is the language of ages, of centuries, of worlds rising and falling. To live in their time is to surrender urgency and accept the slow grace of change. And yet, glaciers are not only slow. When they surge, they remind you that even the most patient forces can surprise. Some advance rapidly, spilling forward like frozen rivers, reshaping valleys in years rather than centuries. Their crevasses crack open, their ice calves into seas, birthing floating icebergs that drift into warmer waters. Even in their patience, glaciers carry the possibility of sudden change, teaching that slowness and swiftness are not opposites, but parts of the same story. You picture yourself resting upon the glacier's surface, feeling its cold beneath you. Beneath that surface, deep within its body, immense pressure builds. The ice shifts, slides, and grinds against rock, its weight sculpting the earth. It is quiet work, almost invisible, yet its results endure for millennia. Entire valleys, rivers, and lakes exist today because glaciers once passed through, leaving their signature written in stone and water. There is something profoundly comforting in this slowness. In a world that rushes, glaciers remind you that not all movement is quick, not all progress is visible. Sometimes the greatest transformations happen in silence, beneath the pace of ordinary perception. They whisper that time does not need to be hurried to be powerful. Even as glaciers retreat in our warming world, their story remains one of patience. Their melting reveals what they once covered, exposing land that has not seen sunlight in thousands of years. Their loss is a reminder that even the slowest clocks can change, that no archive is eternal, but the memory they carry, their frozen record of Earth's breath, remains, teaching us how the planet has lived and how it may live still. You rest in the thought of glaciers, not only as rivers of ice, but as rivers of time. Each crack, each bubble, each grain of snow folded into their mass is part of a timeline longer than any calendar, steadier than any clock. They move as time itself moves, quietly, patiently, unceasingly. And so, as you imagine their slow drift across mountains and valleys, you find calm in their presence. The glaciers teach that even in stillness there is movement, and even in silence there is story. They are the clocks of ice, marking ages, not in seconds, but in whispers. There are clocks outside of you, pendulums, hourglasses, pulsars, and glaciers. But there is also a clock within you, one that has been keeping time since long before you first opened your eyes. It is your heart, the soft drum in your chest, marking seconds, not in gears or light, but in pulses of blood. It beats without your asking, without your command, a rhythm written into your body before you were born. Each heartbeat is a measure of time. When you place your hand against your chest, you feel it steady, insistent, alive. Faster when you climb stairs or run through rain. Slower when you sit quietly, breathing softly, resting in the calm of night. Your heart is not a machine with exact ticks. It is a living metronome, adjusting to your needs, carrying you through moments with flexibility and grace. From the earliest days of life, before lungs drew breath, the heart began to beat. It was the first music of your body, the first rhythm of your existence, and it has not stopped since. Millions upon millions of beats have passed, each one marking a tiny step forward, each one carrying oxygen, energy, and life through your veins. If you listen closely, it is both clock and song. Doctors and poets alike have watched the heart with awe. To medicine, it is a muscle, pumping blood with perfect engineering. To metaphor, it is the seat of love, courage, and spirit. In truth, it is both. It is mechanical and mysterious, physical and symbolic, practical and profound. Its tempo is your tempo, its rhythm your rhythm. You imagine the heart not as a solitary drum, but as part of an orchestra. Your breath joins it, inhalations rising, exhalations falling. Your brain listens and adapts, sending signals to speed or slow the rhythm as needed. Even your emotions play a role. Joy quickens it. Grief weighs it down, fear races it forward, calm slows it gently. The heart is a clock that listens to the whole of you, recording your life not in numbers, but in rhythms of experience in times past. Before watches and digital screens, people often measured time by the heart. Ancient healers counted the pulse at the wrist, feeling not just the flow of blood, but the pace of life itself. A healer in China, a physician in Greece, or a monk in India might place fingers on a vein and listen through touch, letting the beat tell them both the state of health and the passage of moments. Even today, in moments of stillness, you may find yourself listening inward. The heart becomes not only a measure of survival, but of presence. It reminds you that you are here, that time flows not only in stars or machines, but within your very chest. The tempo of the heart is not constant, and therein lies its beauty. It accelerates when you need strength, slows when you need rest. It syncs with the rhythms of music, with the cadence of speech, with the footsteps of a walk. It joins the world around it, flexible, responsive, alive. Unlike the rigid tick of a pendulum, the heart embodies time as lived elastic, personal, full of variation. You imagine lying down in quiet darkness, hearing your heart beat. It is not hurried, not urgent. It is simply steady. Between each beat, a pause. In each pause, a silence. In each silence, a reminder. Time is not only motion, it is also rest. The heart teaches balance, the need for both pulse and pause, action and stillness. Some hearts, over the span of a lifetime, will beat more than 3 billion times. Each beat is both ordinary and miraculous, so common it fades from notice, yet so essential that its absence means the end of life. You rarely thank your heart, rarely notice its labor, yet it is the clock that carries you through every moment. Cultures across the world have tied time to the heart. Poets speak of hearts beating faster when love stirs. Soldiers march to the beat of drums, mirroring the tempo within their bodies. Musicians set tempos that mimic heartbeats, lullabies, echoing the slow rhythm of rest, dances quickening with the pulse of joy. Even languages reflect it. We speak of heartfelt truth, of time taken to heart, of memories that linger in the heart long after they pass in clocks. The heart is not perfect. Sometimes it falters, stumbles, or races out of rhythm. But even these irregularities are reminders of life's fragility, of the uniqueness of each body. They remind you that time is not only precise, but humans, sometimes unpredictable, always finite. When you rest your head against another person's chest and hear their heartbeat, you are listening to their time. Two rhythms, each unique, may come into sync for a moment, like dancers meeting on the same floor. In such moments, you realize that time is not only personal but shared. The tempo of one heart can comfort another, soothe another, even love another in this way. The heart is more than a personal clock, it is also a bridge. It ties you to others, to experiences, to emotions, to the larger rhythm of life. Your heartbeat, soft and steady, becomes part of the great music of existence, joining the pulses of every other heart, every other being, every other clock of the universe. You rest now in the thought that your life is marked not only by years, not only by calendars, but by beats. Your heart has been with you through every breath, every joy, every sorrow, never ceasing, never abandoning its rhythm. It is your oldest companion, your most faithful clock, your quiet reminder that to live is to move in time, and so you breathe with it, pulse with it, live with it. The tempo of the heart is your music, your measure, your truth. It carries you through days and nights, through struggles and peace, through the endless unfolding of time itself. There are moments so brief that they seem to escape notice, moments that flicker past like shadows at the edge of vision. And yet, within these fragments of existence, scientists have found a way to measure, to capture, to mark, deep in laboratories, far from the natural rhythms of tides, trees, and pendulums. Humanity has turned to atoms and light itself to hold time still. Atomic clocks are the finest instruments we know, precise enough to lose less than a second over billions of years. They do not count swings of pendulums or the fall of sand. Instead, they measure the trembling of atoms, the delicate oscillations that occur when electrons leap between energy states. Each oscillation is like the stroke of a tiny bow across a cosmic string, ringing out with a note so pure, so steady, that it becomes the definition of a second itself. Imagine cesium atoms glowing in chambers of steel and glass. Lasers trap and cool them until they hover motionless, barely moving, like fireflies frozen in air. Then, with patient precision, beams of microwave light coax them into rhythm. The atoms respond, their oscillations regular, faithful, unwavering. To the human eye, nothing happens. To the instruments, however, time is being written with strokes finer than dust, smaller than any heartbeat, shorter than any blink. These oscillations are unimaginably fast. A cesium atom ticks more than 9 billion times in a single second. In this flurry of rhythm, scientists find stability. They slice time into pieces so small they almost vanish, yet each piece is counted, catalogued, placed in order. The whole world now follows this invisible rhythm. Your phone, your computer, your GPS all depend on the heartbeat of atoms, their shadows falling in laboratories, keeping humanity in step with the universe. You picture these laboratories as temples of precision. Inside, silence holds sway, broken only by the hum of machines. Scientists adjust mirrors, align lasers, and watch signals on screens, their eyes tuned not to stars or pendulums, but to the invisible beats of atoms. Outside, the world rushes with noise and motion. Inside, time is held, not by memory or rhythm, but by the very building blocks of matter. Atomic shadows are not seen, but they guide us everywhere. When planes cross oceans, they rely on GPS satellites, which themselves rely on atomic clocks whispering in orbit. When scientists look for the smallest variations in gravity, when they test the edges of Einstein's theories, when they search for drifting constants of physics, they turn to the shadows cast by atoms, to their invisible ticking. And yet, for all their power, these clocks are delicate. A shift in temperature, a disturbance in the air, even the faintest vibration can alter the rhythm. To preserve their precision, scientists build them in quiet chambers, shielded from noise, cooled to near absolute zero, where atoms sing their purest notes. It is a reminder that even at the sharpest edge of science, silence and stillness are essential companions. You rest in the thought that time is not only vast, but also infinitely small. Just as galaxies carry centuries in their drift, atoms carry seconds in their trembling. The scale changes, but the meaning endures. Time is always present, always moving, whether in the swing of a pendulum or in the invisible oscillations of a cesium atom. Perhaps the beauty lies not only in the precision, but in the humility it brings. To measure time so finely is to glimpse how much of it escapes us. For every second we feel, billions of atomic beats have already passed. For every moment we recall, countless instants have vanished unmarked, and yet meaning is not lost. Time, even when divided into fragments smaller than dust, still carries weight. Each shadow, each oscillation, is part of the great rhythm, the endless unfolding of now. You imagine holding such an instant in your hand, no longer than a whisper, no wider than a grain of sand, split into infinity. It would slip through, as sand does, as water does, as all time does. But its passage would still matter, still shape the next, still belong to the story of the universe. The pendulum gave us centuries of order. The hourglass taught patience. Pulsars remind us of cosmic rhythm. Glaciers show us the power of slowness. And here, in the atomic shadows, we learn that even the smallest fragments of existence carry the power to measure, to guide, to remind in the smallest shadows. Time continues to whisper its steady truth, that every moment, no matter how fleeting, belongs. Some clocks tick, some flow, some pulse with light or atoms. But mountains measure time differently. They do not hurry or mark minutes. They rise slowly from the earth, folded upward by the heaving of tectonic plates, and then, just as patiently, they wear away. To look at a mountain is to see time frozen in stone, yet also moving in ways so subtle you almost cannot notice. You imagine standing before a great peak, its ridges cut into the sky, its slopes scarred by snow, wind, and rain. To your eyes, it feels eternal and changing, immovable. Yet, if you could wait through ages, if you could watch not for years, but for millions of years, you would see its story unfold. You would see it lift from the earth's crust, then crumble, grain by grain, carried into rivers and seas. The mountain is alive with patience, its time measured in ages, not hours. Every mountain has its beginning. Deep beneath the surface, continents collide, plates grind together, and rock is forced upward. Peaks are born in sudden thrusts, earthquakes cracking valleys open, ridges climbing higher. But after their dramatic rise, the slow work begins. Winds carve their sides, glaciers scrape their slopes, rivers slice through their ridges. The very forces that raised them also begin their quiet undoing. You picture this rhythm as a breatha, earth inhaling as mountains rise, exhaling as they fall. Not in seconds, but in eons. Himalayas, Andes, Alpsal are part of this cycle. Some are still growing, pushed higher each year by the restless shifting of Earth's plates. Others are wearing down, their once towering heights softened into rolling hills. In both, the patience of time is clear. For geologists, mountains are calendars written in stone. Their layers reveal histories of oceans turned to deserts, forests buried, volcanoes spent. A single ridge may carry fossils of seashells, proof that what now kisses the sky was once deep beneath the waves. Mountains hold the story of Earth's transformations, etched into their cliffs like pages of a diary, too vast for one lifetime to read. But mountains are not only records of the past, they are reminders of the future. The same forces that lifted them will one day flatten them. Even Everest, the tallest peak on Earth, will one day wear away, carried as dust into rivers and seas. Nothing, not even stone, escapes the passage of time. To stand before a mountain is to feel that truth in your bones, and yet, in their vast patience, mountains comfort. They remind you that change need not be hurried to be profound. Their slow crumbling teaches that time works gently, persistently, without pause. It does not rush, yet it never fails. The smallest raindrop, repeated over millennia, shapes valleys. The lightest breeze, given enough seasons, smooths cliffs. Mountains whisper that time's power lies not in speed, but in persistence. You imagine touching a granite wall, cool beneath your hand. That stone was formed millions of years ago, long before humans, long before cities, long before memory, and still it waits, still it stands. Each grain that falls away is part of a larger story. A clock too large for you to hold, but no less real. There is poetry in this slowness. While pendulums mark seconds and pulsars flash with precision, mountains speak with silence. Their measure of time is not one you can carry in your pocket or hang on a wall. It is one you feel in your chest when you stand at their base and look upward, knowing that they have seen countless dawns, storms, and seasons, and will see countless more after you are gone. And yet, even as they remind you of patience, mountains also remind you of impermanence. Their peaks, however tall, do not last forever. Their grandeur is not eternal. Time will soften them, rivers will carry them away, and new mountains will rise in their place. The patience of mountains is not stillness, but movement too slow for your eyes. You rest in this truth. Stone itself is a clock. Its hands move in erosion and uplift, in peaks and valleys, in silence and in storms. Mountains teach you to see time differently, to feel it not as a fleeting rush, but as an endless shaping, steady and sure. And so you breathe with them, letting their patience enter you. Time, like mountains, does not need to be hurried. It unfolds quietly, grain by grain, until the world is reshaped. Seasons are not only for Earth, just as your planet tilts and turns, bringing spring, summer, autumn, and winter. The cosmos also moves through its own vast rhythms. Stars emerge, flare with brilliance, and dim into silence. Galaxies bloom, collide, and settle into calm. Even the universe itself carries a cycle: youth, maturity, and eventual decline. To see the cosmos is to see time not as a line, but as a pattern repeating across scales. You begin with the stars. Each one begins in a cradle of dust and gas. Clouds collapse under gravity, heating until nuclear fires ignite. A star is born, glowing with the energy that holds galaxies alight. This is spring in the universe, the season of beginnings. Nebulae bloom like gardens, filling space with seeds of light. As stars mature, they settle into long, steady lives, burning hydrogen into helium. For billions of years, they shine with the balance of pressure and gravity. This is the summer of the cosmos, bright, stable, abundant. Around these stars, planets form. Life stirs. Civilizations may rise, guided by the gentle constancy of their suns. But every summer yields to autumn. 4 massive stars, fuel runs out quickly. They swell into giants, shedding outer layers in cascades of color. Some collapse into neutron stars or black holes, their cores folding under immense weight. Others scatter their elements into space, seeding the cosmos with carbon, oxygen, and iron. Autumn in the cosmos is not decay, but transformation, a time when endings feed new beginnings. Then comes the winter of stars. White dwarfs cool into black dwarfs, their glow extinguished. Galaxies grow quieter as fewer new stars are born. The brilliance of youth fades into a dim hush. Winter here stretches across billions of years, patient and vast. Yet even this silence carries promise, for the elements forged in stars remain, ready to shape future worlds, galaxies, to follow cycles. They grow from clouds of matter, spin into spirals, and collide with one another in slow dances lasting eons. A collision may look violent, but often it is creative, sparking bursts of star formation, lighting the universe with sudden brilliance. Over time, galaxies settle into elliptical forms, calmer but older, their youthful spirals softened. You imagine these transformations as seasons on a scale too vast to measure and beyond galaxies. The universe itself has its own seasons. It began in a fiery spring, the Big Bang, when matter and energy first rushed outward. Then came its long summer, galaxies forming, stars shining, life emerging. Now, perhaps, the cosmos drifts into autumn, expanding faster, stars slowly exhausting their fuel. And in a future so distant it defies imagination, there may be winter, a universe dim and cold, its energy spread thin across endless space. Yet just as Earth's seasons are not failures, but cycles, so too are the cosmos's. Each phase brings something new. From death comes creation, from silence, potential. A star's end enriches the galaxy with the ingredients for planets and life. A galaxy's collision stirs beauty from destruction. Even the universe's winter may hold seeds of mysteries not yet known. You picture yourself standing beneath the night sky, aware of these cosmic seasons. The stars above you are in different chapters of their lives, some newly lit, some steady and ancient, some nearing their ends. Galaxies on the horizon are colliding or drifting apart, their shapes telling stories of billions of years. The very light reaching your eyes carries news of these seasons, delayed by the distance it had to travel. Time, you realize, is not confined to clocks or calendars. It is woven into every layer of existence, from the heartbeat in your chest to the slow fading of stars. Seasons are everywhere on Earth, in galaxies, in the universe itself. Each scale reflects the other, a tapestry of cycles within cycles. And so, you rest in the thought that you are part of these patterns. Your own life has seasons, childhood, growth, maturity, declines, as stars and galaxies do. You are not separate from the cosmos, but an echo of its rhythm, a small chapter in its vast story. Time has carried you far through the rhythm of pendulums, the patience of glaciers, the pulsing of stars, and the erosion of mountains. You have seen how the universe counts itself in cycles, seasons, and stories, each marking the endless unfolding of existence. Yet, after all this wandering, you find yourself here, in the quiet of a single breath, a single heartbeat, a single moment. The present has no measure, yet it contains everything. It is not yesterday, and it is not tomorrow. It is the inhale filling your lungs, the pause at its peak, and the exhale that follows. This is the place where all time becomes real, the meeting point between memory and possibility. Think of a clock. Its hands move second by second, carving the flow of time into neat, ordered ticks. Yet no matter how precise the clock, you cannot live in its numbers. You live only in the turning of each second into now. The ticking is background. The present is foreground. Always here, always arriving. Stars, to measure time with their steady rhythms. Pulsars spin, galaxies turn, light travels across billions of years to reach your eyes. Yet, when that light finally arrives, it does not carry the past as weighted transforms into presence, into this very instant of seeing. Even the oldest starlight lives only in the now of your gaze. Consider glaciers, moving so slowly they seem still. They carry centuries in their frozen bodies, pressing valleys into shape. To a glacier, each moment is indistinguishable from the next. Yet to you, standing before it, the glacier is not in some distant past or future. It is here, in the moment of your noticing, in the quiet of your presence with it. The same is true for your own life. Your heart beats with its own tempo, sometimes racing, sometimes slowing, yet each beat comes only in the now. Your thoughts may scatter backward to memories or forward to plans, but your body remains rooted here, inhabiting this single point. You rest in the truth that no matter how far your mind wanders, your existence is always anchored in this moment. It is tempting to think of time as something you must chase or escape a deadline pressing close, a past that lingers heavy. But the present asks for nothing. It does not demand. It does not rush. It simply is, waiting for you to notice. To sit in the now is to discover that the weight of past and the pull of future dissolve into stillness. Even sleep itself is a return to now. When you close your eyes, the mind drifts through dreams and silence, unburdened by the need to measure hours. Sleep does not belong to yesterday or tomorrow. It belongs to the eternal present of rest. Each night you are carried into this truth without effort, guided back into the endless now. Think of water flowing in a river. If you scoop it into your hands, you cannot hold it. Still it slips through your fingers. Yet for the briefest instant, you touch it, and in that instant, it is fully present. So too is your life, a river of moments, never stopping, but always here in the now that you inhabit. You realize that the vast cycles of the universe, the births of stars, the grinding of glaciers, the spinning of galaxies are grand mirrors of your own moment. They stretch across billions of years, yet their meaning arrives here, distilled into presence. The great and the small collapse together into the same truth, that time's only true home is now dot. And so you rest, not in the weight of history, not in the anxiety of what may come, but in the gentle embrace of this moment. The clocks may continue their ticking, stars may continue their shining, glaciers may continue their patient march, but you need not follow them forward or backward. You need only rest in the still point where everything gathers. The moment is always now, and in its cradle you find peace.